Hello, everyone. This is Derek Kwan here, Executive Director at your Lead Center of Kansas. And I am so excited today to welcome to our leadership conversation here the one and only lead alto saxophone player from the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis, Mr. Sherman Irby. Welcome, Sherman.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's good to see you all.
Oh, man, so good to see you, Sherman. And, I haven't seen you in a minute. I think the last time I saw you, I ran into you in January at APAP. I think there were some shows at the hall. Got to briefly say hello to you. But before Sherman, before you were in the Jazz Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis, I think my first introduction to you from a recording standpoint was an album on Blue Note called Big Mama's Biscuits.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic album, man.
I love that.
You love that album, right? I mean,
yeah. That was one I can, basically writing for my family. So, that was a special one for me.
Yeah, man. No, and I love it. That was I think that was my first real introduction to the soul of Sherman Irby. So, but Sherman, man, I want to thank you so much for your contributions to the Rock Chalk Suite. And you were one of the very few members. You, Wynton, and Victor wrote two of the two movements in the suite, and the first one was certainly one of a kind. It was the only movement in the suite that had vocals associated with it, and that was "The Truth" in honor of Pierce. So, can you talk to us a little bit about your concept behind composing and arranging it and writing the lyrics for "The Truth"?
Okay. First of all, I don't usually write lyrics. So that was something. And I didn't plan on doing it in the first place. But what happened was I was just checking out, I've been checking out a big fan of Paul Pierce for years,
Definitely.
Since KU and all through his pro career. And he's very soulful. His feelings and everything are right here. So there's never a question about how he's feeling or what he feels about a certain subject, even today.
That's right.
So I was like, okay, I think the best way to characterize him is in a blues.
Yeah.
Probably something that everybody would recognize and feel. And something slow and something good, something with a little gospel in it. That's
Definitely.
Okay. I need to get Chris to sing on this. Now I'm gonna have to write some words. All right. So I wanted to make sure that the song was not too long, so we can get to the point. So I treated it almost like an old Count Basie kind of thing, where you will have like a whole play of the melody, with the horns, and then come in with the vocals.
This man was born as Paul.
Yeah.
And I did this like a blues with a bridge in it, blues with bridge blues, and I wanted to have some of the way that he played. If you looked at the way that he played, he would it seemed like he would be moving slow, but he wasn't.
Right.
So I had a slow blues, and then I had all these fast lines within it. To kind of show the speeding up, slowing down kind of thing that he did in this play. And
on River City hardwood.
And so that's all I did with the melody. And then I came up with the lyrics. I said, let me go back and look at his whole history and basically create a poem about him.
The best game closer around. They hung his jerseys on high, but he still mentors the youth. You see, the Diesel was right, that this man is the truth. And
so that's basically how I came up with it.
Hey, man, that let me tell you though, that movement brought down the house. It definitely brought down the house, man. And yeah, that's definitely.
Chris sang on that. Oh my God, Chris Crenshaw.
Oh yeah, no, I was fortunate enough to have a similar conversation with him about that, maybe about a week or so ago. And we were talking about when reflecting on the recording session, he was singing it in Rose Theater in Frederick Hall. And, just the magical feeling that it created with your composition and arrangement and your lyrics. So, man, thank you so much for that contribution to the Rock Chalk Suite.
Oh man, Ryan Kaiser. Woo.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I had to feature him on something. I had to get him in there because he's always playing lead. That's
right.
Something with him in there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and Paul too, man. Paul Netzella. You had him. A little call and response with.
That's the old school baritone kind of thing,
yes.
From the 40s and 50s. That kind of. Yeah, I wouldn't make that in there.
But man, that vibe is just so signature. It just makes you feel so good when you're listening to it, and so fantastic. And so let's move to the other movement that you.
Okay.
And I think this is probably without a doubt the most unique and compelling name of a movement for Rock Chalk Suite, the Ponderous Pachyderm of the Planks, the great Clyde Lovellette. And man, this is another super entertaining movement, man. So could you talk a little bit about the concept behind it?
Okay, first of all, I did not come up with the title. I just want to make that clear. That was one of the nicknames. He had a whole bunch of nicknames. But when I saw that one, I was like, oh, yeah, that's it. Because you look at the way he did his hook shots.
Yes.
It wasn't like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It wasn't that kind of hook shot. There was another kind of thing that he did. Yeah. He kind of looks like an elephant, the way he moved his arm up. And then I see why they call him a pachyderm of the planks.
Pachyderm, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to get that elephant kind of vibe in there.
Yeah,
and
man.
Of course, the instrument you're going to use for that is a trombone. So I said, let me just do a trombone feature. I'm a saxophone player, and I hate not writing for saxophone, teaching them like that. But the trombone section is so doggone good that I had to do that.
Yes, sir.
So they're able to get that kind of vibe and just feature them all through. So, and basically it's a bluesy kind of thing.
Yes.
Because he was complex, Clyde Lovellette. He was complex.
Yeah.
He was soulful. He would get to you. We know that Will Chamberlain actually got in a fight with him on the court.
Exactly. And he socked him.
That's right? Knocked him clean down. So we know he talked trash and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to get that kind of grit in there. And even like the I had like the cries of people in the audience go, "Woo!"
That's right.
Happy with the trumpets, that kind of thing. So I wanted to just that kind of vocal thing that we can all relate to. We can hear that.
Yes.
And then some of the sophistication too,
Right.
He was a smart guy. And so I wanted to make sure to have a section in there where this sophisticated kind of choral kind of sound comes in and they go right back to the soul.
Yes.
So, that's why he was the champion that he was. He had all of that.
Man, that's great, Sherman. And it also, the diversity of the styles that Vincent, Chris, and Elliot all soloed in was so compelling as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're all approaching it, obviously from the conception with the conception of the blues,
right?
All from a different approach, which made it so interesting and enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
That shuffle, would you call that a shuffle groove or something?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you can't help but not start moving when you hear that.
That's that Art Blakey shuffle.
Yes, sir.
I particularly wanted that Art Blakey shuffle. It's one of the hardest things in the world for a drummer to do,
Yeah.
So, but they did pretty good.
Yeah, Charles Gould did a great job with.
Charles is fantastic.
He is fantastic.
Talented young guy. Talented.
Yes, sir. So Sherman, you contributed 2 movements to Rock Chalk Suite. So thank you again for doing that. But I want to make sure that everybody that's watching this is aware that you have composed some really major works, major commissions. And if you don't mind, I'd love to hear from you about Inferno, because it was a recently released album on Blue Engine Records at the beginning of the calendar year, towards the beginning of the calendar year. So can you talk to us a little about Inferno?
Okay, Inferno is the first movement of a larger work that I've been working on, the Divine Comedy, all based on Dante Alighieri's work, The Divine Comedy. So Inferno is that travel that he took through hell,
yes,
and trying to make his way back home, basically going through the trial and tribulation, something that we all can relate to.
No question about that.
And I believe that storyline is one of the main reasons that I picked that subject. All of us have something that we can attest to of going through that kind of period in our lifetime. We said, man, we're going through hell right now, but it's okay. I'm gonna be all right on the other side.
Right.
And making sure that you're dealing with all of those different subjects, everything from greed and anger, all of those kind of emotions. And so, it was really compelling. So I tried to really give an oral depiction of that poem. It took a long time to do. It took me about 6 months to write that first movement.
Wow.
That first act.
Yes.
Inferno. It took me about 6 months to research it.
Yes.
We're all going through these periods right now in the last few years of finding different ways to better ourselves, educate ourselves to the things that are outside of what we normally deal with. Mm-hmm. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's, dealing with Dante is not something that came, around the house or anything like that.
Right.
So it's something that I wanted to research. I started researching a lot of different things. But that was a good work. I was going to Italy a lot at the time.
Yes.
And I was able to actually go to his burial, the tomb where he's buried.
Wow. Wow.
So, all of that kind of played into me dealing with this. It was a ballet.
Yes.
And Hope Boykin, who was a fantastic dancer, used to be with Philadelphia, and then was with Alan Ailey. I think she's still with them.
Right.
Been with them for a long time. Fantastic dancer and choreographer. She pulled together her group to do that, and we premiered it at the Hall. It featured Joe Temperley.
Ooh, yeah.
And, he was our elder statesman.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's gone through hell and back, it's been him.
Yes.
The people who you can do a little research about his life, where he's from, what he overcame in order to get to where he got to, and how much he loved jazz music, and how much he contributed to us, to our learning. We all of us learned from him. So I wanted to particularly feature him as the voice of Dante.
That's great. Yeah.
And,
so, we're going to make sure that in the comments or the link, we'll have a link to Inferno. So
okay, good.
Check it out. You can check out the full album, right? Okay. And your latest larger scale work that was going to be premiered in April, I believe, late April of this year, was Supernova.
Right.
And I just love these large scale concepts that you come up with, man. Do you mind talking about Supernova briefly?
Supernova is a concept. Well, that title came out later on. You're trying to find titles for programs.
Sure.
Not always what the artist had in mind. The title of the piece that I wrote is called Musings of Cosmic Stuff.
Got it.
All right. So, it's kind of crazy, right? But it's like this. I'm writing musical ideas about things in the cosmos.
Yes.
All right. The title Supernova kind of pulls it all together into something that is really marketable and it's smart.
Yeah.
A lot of times as artists, we don't think on that realm. We just think about what we're dealing with, while others have to, let me help you, son. So what I did, my idea was to create a storyline first from the Big Bang.
Yes.
through how the universe was put together, all the different stages up to a picture of the whole spherical universe. Because they say the universe is a sphere. It's a perfect sphere.
Yes.
And we don't visualize as that. It's just something.
Yes.
So if it's a sphere, there's something on the outside of that too, but that's something we get to another time.
Yeah.
But I want to build it up from there, and then to bring it back. The story will continue on the second half to bring us back to us, which is the most unique thing in the universe is life.
Yes.
That's something we haven't found on any other planet.
Right.
So I wanted to create those two types of stories into this one show, and I wanted to have someone a scientist to talk about each movement, and we're so fortunate to have Sean Carroll to be that scientist who put it all together. He's at Caltech,
great,
a fabulous writer, very knowledgeable, very personable. He's a trumpet player also.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, I like that, but he's a musician. It'd be a different thing, but no, he's a trumpet player, so he understands the music. But the beautiful thing, he was able to create what his text was able to create a story about it and not be too technical because you want to bring people in.
That's right.
So his job was to do it on the written side. And my job was to do it on a musical picture of what that would be. So, like, say something like the quantum. I would take like a concept of the 12-tone roll.
Yes.
And it's always building. It's always changing. It getting bigger and bigger. And as the cycle goes, it goes and goes. And I built something off of that. I would have these themes of anytime it's building, I would use fourths and fifths, that kind of relationship in order to show the building kind of thing, like John Coltrane did with Giant Steps, that kind of
exactly.
I tried to feature everyone in the band, which is another imperative that I had.
Nice.
Anytime you're doing large work and you have a bunch of musicians who can really, 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 really play and have their own voice, you want to exploit that. And that's something we've been trying to do for the last few years, especially with the orchestra. So that was imperative. Also, I wanted to make sure that the music swang.
Of course.
If it doesn't have that, it's not jazz for me.
Right.
So how can I do that and make sure it still swings and be creative and be something that, and be something that people can bring in, because too much of anything is a bad thing.
True.
So, how can I, so when I'm thinking of a large scale thing, how can I diversify the keys, the type, the tempo, the types, the type of swing, the type of grooves that go with it. And this piece took me a long time. It took me a year to write it.
Wow.
And
wow.
That's why I kind of hate that we weren't able to premiere.
Well, man, let me tell you, I can't wait to hear it, because it will get premiered.
That's right.
We're going to
record it
and record it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't wait to check that out, man. And
William Shatner, he's been fortunate he wants to be a part of it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's great, man.
Yeah. So we're hoping that
the William Shatner wants. That's great, man.
Yeah. That's
beautiful. Hey, man, before we close out with a couple of last questions, I just want to bring up a really powerful moment that occurred during the recording session of Rock Chalk Suite. On the second or third night of the session, you were being featured at Dizzy's. And at that set, Walt Wesley and his wife and Annette Woodard and all of her brothers and sisters attended that set. And man, you performed, and also several folks from Kansas who helped support the project. You performed a rendition of Sweet Georgia Brown, that set that brought Lynette and her entire family to tears. And so thank you, man. It was so beautiful. It was such a one-of-a-kind version of it. It's the only way that could have happened was through you, Sherman, and through your experience, your soul, and the swing that you bring to everything that you do.
Thank you.
Man, that was such a magical moment during that entire process. And
Well, that's the beautiful thing about jazz, is that you could do something like that.
yeah,
You can be moved by, who you see in the audience. They moved me. It was not anything that I had planned to do.
right.
And that's the beautiful thing about the music we play, is that we can make those audibles and feed on our emotions and other people's emotions and make that connection. And wow, yeah, that was special.
That was super special, man. I mean, and you were so kind to acknowledge them afterwards, but yeah, no, their family, Lynette's family especially. I mean, she's heard that tune, millions of times, having been a member of the Globetrotters, but that specific rendition that you performed was just absolutely priceless. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, man. So to close us out, during this time of quarantine and lockdown, how have you been staying creative? Has it been challenging, or are you just naturally motivated all the time?
Well, at the beginning of the lockdown, I still had Supernova I was working on.
Yes.
I was trying to make sure, because you didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to still be able to do those concerts. And, like everyone else, everyone is okay. Well, March is a wash, but maybe we have our concerts in April, that kind of thing. So my main goal was I need to get my work done.
Yes, sir.
So we don't, so we'll have it ready. So I finished the work. And then after that, I was so tired. I was just basically there's so many things are going on that if I finish the work and now we're not going to perform it at that time. It's like
right.
that release right there. But then I started thinking about all the other things that I needed to do. I've been working again on Purgatory.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm one movement away from finishing that.
Nice.
All right, and then I do Paradise, Paradiso. Then that work can be done.
Nice.
It's important to use this time because I usually don't have this. I'm usually on the road writing. After concert, I go and stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning, on the computer writing music.
Yep.
On the bus, it just continues. So I wanted to make sure to do that. I have been practicing on my flute.
Nice.
Because, and I did on the clarinet soon, that black stick of death. I have to really spend some time on that. But to clean up some things on pieces that I've written, to work on things that I want to finish. We've been doing a lot of videos and
yes.
classes and things. We did essentially Ellerton.
Yeah.
And we start our summer jazz academy in another week or so.
That's great.
I have a whole slew of videos that I have to do in a week. Writing lesson plans for all of those, and so we keeping that going, and doing lessons and everything. But I've been trying to keep creative. At the same time, this is a unique time for us musicians who are on the road all the time to spend time with our families.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's very important too. There has to be a balance of everything, because if things are not right on that, and it's hard to really be creative and have that freedom that everything is in good standing. So I've been making the use of that, and I've been barbecuing too. Getting the ribs on the grill. I've been trying to do a lot of different things. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So last question, man. What are you missing the most right now?
Okay. What I'm missing the most and what I'm having the hardest time dealing with, and I'll be honest, I've been talking about it as of late. It's something that we take for granted, to be able to play with others. We take that for granted because, I've been playing saxophone ever since the 8th grade. So I've been playing in a band. in some kind of group, marching band, jazz group, R&B group, fusion jazz group, gospel group, and almost every day of my life. When I went to college, I played every day. I played with others in all different bands. Then when I came to New York, playing, with all these great musicians that I've been fortunate to play with, and almost every day playing with someone.
Yeah.
For these, since March, not being able to play with other people has been really getting to me. Yeah. I didn't really realize how much it affected. It kind of put me in a funk.
Sure.
Because the energy that you get is a spiritual energy that you get that you can't really, quantify. But it's something that you feel that is missing in your heart to be able to communicate with others, musically, to be able to feel the vibrations that's coming from another instrument, from the bass drum coming through your body, from the bass, the sound of the string being pulled, and that's vibration from the bass to come through your body. Hearing the trumpet playing you miss all of that. And there's a spiritual connection about that you're missing.
Yeah.
And the compounded with everything else, it really started to get to me. Now that I recognize what it is, I'm able to deal with it like anything else.
Sure. Right.
But it's important for us musicians to realize that is something that can mess with us.
Definitely.
So any opportunity that you have, like I talked to a couple other musicians, we're going to get together at the park and be social distance and just play.
That's great.
It's different than playing over the computer doing Zoom.
That's not the same.
It's not the same. It's a spiritual component that you cannot quantify, but it is there.
Yes.
And so, that's what I miss the most. And that's why I can't wait to get back to playing.
Well, hey, speaking of that, we're looking forward to welcoming you back to the Lied Center.
Oh, yeah, looking forward to that.
When it is safe to do so with your musical brother, Gerald Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Safe to do so. And also we have actually have a date with the JLCO booked for the fall in October, but, we won't, only proceed ahead with that when it is safe to do so. So, but Sherman, man, hey, thank you so much for your time. Love to you and your family.
Same to yours.
And, this is such to me, I appreciate it because it's a very fulfilling conversation to be able to hear the things that you're sharing with the world. So, man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, Sherman.
You too now.
Okay. Bye-bye.